If you know BikeRadar, you know we love hill climbs. Now obviously, I don't know if you've heard, but there's been a global pandemic this year, which has somewhat thrown our usual plans into disarray. With that in mind, we're going to bring you a very brief overview of the top 5 coolest hill climb bikes we saw at the 2020 Nationals. And if that isn't enough for you, make sure you check out Hill Climb Diaries. They're some of the best videos we've ever made, and you can check those out in the link in the video description.
2, 1, go!
Hill climb racing is all about your power to weight ratio. And while aero considerations will of course come to play on longer or faster courses, if you can get you and your bike light enough, there's still some potentially significant savings to be made. Similarly, as hill climbs and other time trials in the UK are governed by the CTT and not the UCI, the 6.8 kilo minimum weight and all the other technical regulations mean nothing here. You can ride pretty much whatever bike you want, so long as it's not a recumbent and it has 2 brakes, or 1 brake if you're riding a fixie. With no UCI regulations about to ruin the fun, this makes for some truly wacky bikes and some eyebrow-raising modifications that might make you a little bit anxious. Potential performance gains aside, removing weight from your bike is a lot of fun. And it's even more fun looking at them and a lot less harmful to your wallet. Held in Streatley near Reading, this year's course was 0.8 kilometres long, with an average gradient of 13%, maxing out at a gut-wrenching 26%. This year's enormous 479 rider strong start list was also notable as it had the largest ever women's contingent, with 140 female riders lined up for the start of the race. This is largely thanks to the efforts of riders such as Laurie Pastana, who managed to secure funding for 90 female riders, with sponsors covering their entry fees. Now, if 5 bikes isn't quite enough for you, we've also published a full gallery with a further 4 bikes on BikeRadar.com. And as always, you can check that out in the video description. And finally, of course, I have to remind you, do not forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon, so every time we upload a video like this, you'll get a notification. Andrew Feather. A man lightweight by name and by nature. A good friend of BikeRadar, he won the Hill Climb Nationals back in 2018. And following a literally perfect season in 2020, where he won every single race he entered, he dominated at the National Championships, taking the overall win. With a time of 2 minutes and 4.86 seconds, Andrew took the win on the same bike he's been riding for the past 2 seasons, and that is his 2018 Cannondale Super 6 Evo High Mod. We have actually covered this bike in a separate video last year, and although the build is ever so slightly different, it is for the most part the same. Weighing in at 5.4 kilos, the bike is built around a previous generation 11-speed SRAM Red E-TAP group set. The bike is set up in a 1x arrangement, as is done for many hill climb bikes, and it uses Rotor's Aldu alloy crankset with its InSpider spider-based power meter. As a Hunt-sponsored rider, it should come as no surprise to see Andrew using Hunt's Hill Climb Tubular SL wheelset, and these were fitted with a pair of Vittoria Chrono CS tyres. As with most hill climb wheelsets, which of course prioritise weight over all else, these are perilously thin at just 22mm wide. A smattering of Schmolke and MCFK finishing kit matched with Cane Creek's EE brakes finish off the build. Bitha Jones of Pankhurst Cycles took the overall women's win with a time of 2 minutes and 47.94 seconds. She rode this also very stealthy looking Tifosi Mons, which weighs in at 5.6 kilograms. Like Andrew, she also rode a 1x setup, though, as with many hill climbers, hers is a bit more of a mix and match of components chosen for their weight over all else. She has a Campagnolo rear derailleur, which is paired with a Shimano Ultegra crankset. The shifters are also really interesting, with the left lever totally gutted, so it is literally just a brake lever, with no shifting components left at all. Leaving absolutely no stone unturned, the pad retaining bolt from the Planet X CNC brakes has also been removed. Every single gram is a prisoner on a hill climb bike, and this is the stuff we love to see. Tom Bell, another good friend of BikeRadar and a semi-regular contributor to the channel, took second on the day, a mere second-ish just behind Andrew Feather. He rode this Rose X-Lite team, which weighs in at 5.5 kilos on the nose. Though he's an excellent multidiscipline rider, Tom Bell's heart of his racing lies with World Cup level cross-country racing, and that is reflected in his pedal choice, where on the day he used Shimano XTR mountain bike SPD pedals. Now Tom says he did this for two reasons. One, he's more used to them, and really, the stiffness of a high-end mountain bike shoe matches that of a road shoe. And the other thing is a little bit more interesting. As I mentioned, there's a global pandemic, and that means things have had to change a little bit at the hill climbs. And traditionally, you'd have somebody holding you at the start of the race. Now for the Nationals, this is not possible. There's 480 riders, it'd be impossible to keep things clean. This means that getting off the line and clipping in can be a real challenge, and when you're talking about a second between first and second place, everything counts. With the SPD pedals, because they're dual-sided, Tom finds them easier to clip into, and that is very clever, and the exact sort of uncompromising stuff we love seeing at hill climbs. Now on to number 4. If you've watched this channel for long enough, you will know I am a fixed gear fashionista. So it should be no surprise to see this Dolan Setter, ridden by Hamish McDowell, who perhaps has the most Scottish name of all time, in this list. Weighing in at a feathery 5.3 kilograms, Hamish rode a 39.19 gear on the day, which took him to a more than respectable 54th overall. The stock track fork has been replaced by an Easton EC90 fork, which brings the weight down considerably. And also, as I mentioned, because it's a fixed gear, Hamish only has to run one brake, which allows you to bring the weight down pretty low on a fixed gear without spending quite as much as you would on a geared hill climb bike. Finally, in number 5, we have Josh Coyne's Cube Lightning, which weighs in at 5.5 kilos. Now the most notable thing on this bike is of course the bullhorn bars. In a hill climb, maybe on a longer or faster climb, you may wish to use the drops, but on a steep, unrelenting gradient like you'd seen on the Streetly course, they're basically useless. So bullhorn bars allow you to drop weight, and in my experience, they also give a slightly nicer, stiffer ride quality with this type of climb. Josh's bike is built around an Ultegra Di2 rear derailleur, again set up in a 1x arrangement. And all of that is controlled by a Dura-Ace TT shifter on the right hand side. As well as bringing weight down, it looks really cool, and that's why it's made its way into this list. As a brief side note, Josh Coyne was also using those same Hunt wheels that we saw from Andrew, and he was also using the same Cane Creek EE brakes. They are two of the most popular components in the UK hill climb scene, and I think after seeing this video, prices in the second-hand market are gonna shoot up. Now of course we would love to have been at the Nationals ourselves, but this year's been a little bit crazy. That said, we have managed to get to a couple hill climbs, and we do have a saucy one-off special edition of Hill Climb Diaries coming for you very, very soon. Which of these 5 bikes was your favourite? What would you change about the builds? Would you like to try hill climbing, or are you not an idiot like me? As always, leave your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and slap that little bell icon, so every time we upload a video, you get a notification.